Yo guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am introducing a new segment. It's called Looking Back. I remember that this channel, I dedicated it specifically for my life experiences and explaining or detailing some of the things that I've gone through. So today, what I feel like talking about is my first year in Joburg. So I'm looking back to my first year. I'm going to be as short as possible, but not too short. You know, I don't like long videos, but I don't like to talk for too long. I moved to Joburg in, I think, March, at the end of March, or maybe early April 2017. I left, I think, in an Eagle liner. It was 450 something. We didn't have money at the time, so my dad didn't want me to go to Joburg because at the time we were like struggling financially. We didn't have any cash. Literally, like if I did go there, he was worried where was I gonna stay, what was I gonna eat. We were struggling here already, so if I went there, it was gonna be even more of a mess. Maybe I would have an emotional breakdown because at the time I was also going through my own emotional stuff. But I was very adamant and eager to leave because I was so frustrated by how I felt restricted in Cape Town, because I wanted to do things I couldn't do. And at the time my social media work was peaking, so I needed to be closer to the work, and I believed and had faith that I'd find some type of way in order to make it work with the people that I was working with in Joburg. My dad refused, bro. Like my dad was like, no, you can't go, you can't, like it's impossible. Do long distance rather. So we swapped the course. So I was initially going to stay, and then I was going to do the course long distance. But I was so adamant. So I changed the course. I just accepted because I trust my dad's decisions at the end of the day. So I changed my course to long distance, and still they kept on sending me emails. They were like, no, you have to register, you have to pay for the last registration, you have to come to school. So I decided that no, as soon as my dad gets paid, mid-April or something. Yeah, I left mid-April, or yeah, around the 12th, 11th, just before my dad gets paid, so he can give me some money so I can go. So I took a cheap bus and left for Joburg. There was a special, I remember then. I think it was 350 or 400. But yeah, I left, and while I was planning to leave, there was a friend of mine that I was housemates with that saw my message on Twitter when I asked about places to stay in Joburg that are close to UJ. So Ati contacted me in my DMs and told me, nah dog, there's an affordable place that I live at that you can come as soon as you come here, and we'll welcome you with open arms and we'll embrace you. So I remembered that I had that contact at the time. I made, that connect, that side. And I had a few friends as well from social media in Joburg, but at the end of the day, you want to sort things out yourself. You want to be able to plan out how you're gonna stay and stuff, and you have to guarantee your accommodation to your dad in order for him to make you leave. I left, and then it was a long bus ride to Joburg, honestly. I'd never lived out of home in terms of accommodation and stuff, so I didn't really know how to go about paying rent, first of all. I didn't know how to go about organizing things according to the people you live with. A lot of the schedules of you washing dishes, cleaning certain places. I didn't know that, because at home there's a certain way you do things, and when you don't do something, you get away with it. But anyway, I'll double back on that. I left, and then I arrived in Joburg the following day. I think it took like 18 hours. I arrived at Park Station, and at the time I'd never used Uber in my life. I didn't need to use Uber in Cape Town because I know where to go. I know where all the places are here. So whenever I need to go somewhere, either get on the train, a bus, or a taxi, and I get there. In Joburg, because I didn't know where Brixton was, I had to literally take an Uber. Somebody suggested at the bus station that I take an Uber. So I arrived at the place. The guys embraced me very well. I spoke with the landlord, he asked me, what am I doing in Joburg? What's the plan? And honestly, I didn't have a plan at the time. And I just was like, I'm just going to go with the flow. I was just so excited because in Cape Town, everybody says that they're gonna go to Joburg. So yeah, I'm gonna go to Joburg. Yeah, I'm gonna go to Joburg. Yeah. As soon as school's finished, I'm gonna go to Joburg and pick up my career and lift off. A lot of my friends used to say that, especially in high school, and none of them went. So I was just happy that I literally left home, took my suitcase, took my stuff, and left. That was the first step for me. And I was grateful for it. Like, I was fearful, but the excitement, like, when the excitement just overrides the fear, that's how I felt at the time. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't think about how I was going to make money. I didn't think about how was I going to approach school, because I'd literally been applying at UJ for so long. Like, it was like, I think since grade 11. And I'd never gotten in. So now, years after matric, I get in eventually. So that's a sign. If you want to get in somewhere or university, do your research. Find out which courses you can get in for easier if you're not the most gifted academically, because I wasn't. But I had this ambition to go to UJ. Now, so I never stopped giving up, even after they rejected me. Rejection. We regret to inform you. Rejection. First, second, third choices rejected every single year. And every single year I picked a different course. I didn't care what course I did as long as I got in. So that's how ambitious and motivated I was to move out of home. I didn't want to just go to Joburg for no reason. I wanted to go to Joburg, yes, for hustling, but for school as well, to make sure that there is something I am working on the side while I'm hustling. Because you know how the hustle is, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur. You can't, it doesn't work out every day, so it's good to be busy with something on the side. That's what I believe. Yeah, the first 6 months went, and I think it was the worst 6 months of my life, honestly. For many reasons. I didn't know how to communicate with people that live with me. I didn't know how to, the response for me to help clean wasn't there. To help wash certain things that needed to be washed. It wasn't it didn't tick fast, And I think it was only 7-8 months, because I was there in April. So, it wasn't the whole year. But as time went, things got better. But I think, personally, if I look back now, I took very long to adjust to living with other people. Yes, I was living in my own room, but, sometimes a person has to go the extra mile, or you have to assist people in a place that you live. You literally have to be able for people to have faith or trust in you that you're going to get certain things done without them asking. And I failed to do that a lot of the times. And the guys were lenient towards me, and I'm not going to blame it on anything, honestly, bro. One thing I know that I don't do is have excuses. And yeah, but as time went, I think second year got better, but that first year was a nightmare for me, honestly. It was the worst year of my life, honestly, one of the worst years of my life, just from independence point of view. Productively, in terms of business and stuff, it's one of the best years, because we started from scratch, and there was a lot of business booming, even better second year. But personally, from a personal perspective, development wise, self-esteem wise, I think it was the worst year. I took a very big knock, but second year I doubled back and hit the year running. I won't lie, first year for me was so exciting that my personality and my integrity came to test a lot of times. Because I moved to Joburg and because I was buzzing on social media, there were so many people that wanted to work with me. So there were so many opportunities that were presented in my face. So people offered me positions in their company, stakes, salaries, very big money to build certain platforms for them. Influencing was big at the time, so certain companies wanted platforms to get built, and some people wanted to use my ideas to get on TV. So I was getting things left, right, and center. I was getting radio interviews, I was getting TV interviews, I was getting job interviews. There was a lot of things happening, and coupled with school and this thing of living with people and having to adjust to their ways and my ways and finding out more about myself, it really took its toll. And I just want to say to anybody that's moving to Joburg, have a plan, because I didn't have a plan. I just went off instinct, and I just went off gut feeling, and I went off what my business partners and I had planned out. We had plans. A lot of the plans we achieved either that year or the following year, but business-wise, I think that's what kept me motivated to keep up with school and keep improving as a person. Because when you're living at home, you think you know everything. You think, I have the vision, I know how to be around people, I know how to do this, I know how to do that. I'm going to be a person that is pretty dope. But just because you're a nice or good guy doesn't mean that you're going to be a person that is easy to live around or to handle, So it was difficult for me, I won't lie. But I didn't make any enemies. All my housemates, those people, like those guys, opened up the possibility for me to have friends just outside my space. Because each one of them, every one of them, all of them are their own people, but they have their own type of personalities that complement me, and I don't know about vice versa, but the relationships are always good, and it has to be good because it's people that you're living with. So yeah, it took some time, but eventually things came right. So yeah, the year went by. I didn't repeat any modules. I didn't do any, school wasn't that hectic. I was still studying long distance. I couldn't change it back because when I changed it first time, the registration ended. So I couldn't adjust and change it to full-time again. So I was doing all my studying at home. Because I didn't have a laptop, I had to go to school. I was literally like a full-time student because I didn't have laptop, I didn't have a phone, I had a tablet, so I couldn't do all my work on my tablet. So I had to go to the library at APK, and I had to first write out my assignment at home and then go do it or write it out on computer at APK. I tried to do it on the tablet, but the tablet doesn't have proper keyboards and you might make mistakes. You can't check for errors as well. It takes long. Because I was so antisocial, I didn't want to go to school, but I had to go because this tablet thing wasn't working out. I even tried to avoid going to school by handwriting my assignment. So I went from doing it on the computer, and in the second half of the year I decided to do it over the handwriting it because I just didn't want to face people. It gave me anxiety. But the more I went, the more comfortable I got being around people. So it was a lesson in itself. Sometimes you have to do stuff that you don't enjoy in order for you to develop certain things that you might think you don't need, but you do. So my people skills developed as I went to school more and more. As I recognized people from school that were on Twitter, I talk to them and we catch up, and I give advice for me on how to go about maneuvering Joburg. Things just got better and better as time went. I think the transportation in Joburg is more complex than Cape Town, in my opinion, because in Cape Town I never felt like using Uber at all. I'd never used Uber before I moved to Joburg. So I'd always just literally get on a taxi and find my way to wherever I want to go. So the end of the year came, I wrote exams, and I remember that year when I wrote exams, we didn't have any water and the electricity was going on and off. I don't know if it was load shedding or it was the municipality that was having problems, but it was really rough. Imagine you're going through your own stresses, you don't have water, you have to go to write exams without washing, or you just have to wash your face. That was the situation for us towards the end of the year. More than anything, I was relieved, when the end of the year came. I honestly didn't know if I was gonna go back to Joburg, honestly. Yeah, it was a good year financially for the business, you know, and I really built a couple of good friendships. But from a personal perspective and self-esteem wise, I took a really like a big hit, and I just felt like people shouldn't live with me being their burden because I wasn't putting in effort anyway. Most times I'd just be like, nah, I'm not gonna do this. I'd allow them to do this thing on their own. You know, I'd feel like a victim a lot of the times. I'd feel like people are against me, so I'd put very little effort to the things that I did. So I decided either I wasn't gonna come back or I was gonna move out. You know, I was in the victim mode. But I went back. I was motivated by Uluka. And it was nice, man. I definitely, second year was a better year for me, honestly. And it was a big lesson. I think people really need to have that lesson in their lives. I'm not saying if you don't move out of home, you won't learn anything. But for people who want to explore those opportunities before getting a job or having to be in that position when you're supposed to get married, I think it's a good idea to move out of home, to see how you cope, to see what you buy, to see your financial patterns. You know, your financial literacy also needs to get tested. That was my experience of looking back at my first year in Joburg, 2017. One of the worst years of my life, but one of the years that taught me most about life at the same time.